Hello and welcome into PTN Extra. Alyssa Orange alongside Courtney Mims. And for the first time making his PTN Extra debut, Jacob Morris, welcome.
Thank you.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, it is. It's about time. Excited to finally be here.
We decided to come and join the fun. Today is going to be a lot of fun because we're going to talk about something that you two know everything about and I know absolutely nothing about, but I know a big part of our audience very excited for the NCAA football video game.
Yeah, you said that not confidently at all.
Yeah, right?
EA Sports College Football 25, that comes out next week. And I know Jacob and I have been so excited about this game, but a lot of people have asked us, can you do more of a breakdown? Because we talk about it on Ask Mike every week, and I'm like talking to Mike about it, and he's like, I have no idea what you're saying. So Jacob is here. Yeah. To kind of go back and forth.
Jacob is here to give you some support. I'm here to play the role of Mike Irwin. And my first question is for us in layman's terms who don't know, why is this game release so significant?
I think for a lot of people, and Jacob can kind of hype up on this point as well, is that this game stopped in 2013. Okay. So over a decade ago. Mm-hmm. And that was the last version that came out. And so for me, it's been a really long time since I played it. I was in high school, full disclosure, when the last game. I know, guys, I know.
I was going to say, I'm going to one-up you there.
Okay, you're going to one-up me. I was in high school, and so I remember playing it. I loved video games. My dad bought me a PlayStation when I was really young, and so I've always really loved video games. And this game was kind of how I learned, since I grew up in England, the game of college football, and why it was so important, and the fans and the traditions and everything about it was learned from that game. So I think for a lot of people it's nostalgic. It's a little bit of, okay, what was I doing a decade ago? Sure. For me, I was in high school. Jacob,
I was coming back from Florida State National Championship. That's what I remember. Dare we ask you?
Yeah, so that's where I was going to go. I was 12 years old, or going on 12, when the last game came out. Okay. And so Courtney hit the nail on the head from the standpoint that the game is an introduction to college football for a lot of people. It's an introduction to all the environments, what makes college football wonderful. And for me, I grew up in South Bend, Indiana, so every fall Saturday was Notre Dame tailgate, Notre Dame game. So being able to play college football and kind of immerse yourself in that world was so much fun for me. So it's nostalgic with it coming back, but it was kind of the landmark beginning of all the NIL stuff. That's why the game went away, from the standpoint that it was the first kind of push to, hey, you can't have players in this game when you're not compensating for them, because you used to be able to play as players with names. And so that kind of brought on the whole NIL landslide. So it's significant from that standpoint as well, because obviously with the landscape of college athletics changing, this is a sign of the new future. Real players are in the game, and I'm sure we'll touch on that. And this game coming back is a sign of the new college athletics and the landscape we're in now.
So when does it specifically come out?
It comes out July 19th is the official release date, July 16th for early release, if you want to pay for that.
Yeah, if you have early
access, did, right? You did.
I did, but guys,
now
I messed up. I didn't need to.
I thought about this.
These two are going to be at SEC Media Days next week, so they will not be able to play until they get home.
Heartbreaking.
How fast they drive and when they decide to come back home on Friday, we're just not going to ask, because I know you guys have a lot of playing to do when you get done. So what are you most excited about for this game?
I think you might have the same answer for me. I think everybody I've talked to is excited about one mode and one mode only. It's Dynasty mode. And the reason I think so many people are excited about it is not just because it was the most popular mode in the old games, because it's changed so much with the new game. So what that means for people at home that kind of don't understand what I'm talking about, what does Dynasty mode mean? It was the coolest mode in the game for me because it really put you in the position of being a college football head coach and taking a program that maybe wasn't so good and building them to greatness, then getting a new job at maybe your Power 5
and that all happens in the game.
It all happens in the game.
Fascinating.
You get to recruit. You get to do everything that you could do as a head coach. Now they've taken it a step further, right? Video games have obviously changed in the past decade, and so they've been able to make it so intricate, which I love. The addition of the transfer portal, recruiting just is such a, there's a heavy placement on it, obviously, because in the old game it was, and now they've like, okay, with the transfer portal, we've got to make it even more. And so there's so many intricate things with what you have to do with your head coach. You get to hire your coordinators. Do you want to place an emphasis on recruiting? You can't just power up your recruiting level and be good at recruiting. You have to think about kind of strategically how you want to play dynasty mode. Do you want to be a head coach that's good at recruiting? Do you want to be a head coach that's good at X's and O's? You can't just be great at everything. You have to have help, and that's where I love the addition of an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator that maybe have more of the X's and O's. You're the recruiter, or opposite way. You can play however you want, and I know Jacob's excited for that
it's
too.
really hard to wrap my Super Mario Brothers mind around all of this and the intricacies of this game. That was the level of my video gaming. So what are you most excited about?
Same exact thing Courtney's describing. It's the dynasty mode, and it's really, they've done such a great job of what makes college football unique is the recruiting element, right, and building a program. There's not set rules for everybody like there is in professional sports. Building a program is really, to me, as a nerd for college football, is the most amazing thing in real life and in this game as well.
Okay.
So the idea, the concept that you could take your favorite team, you could take an Arkansas and you could take over as head coach, you could take over as offensive coordinator, and you could build the Razorbacks up to be a national power. But we were joking before we got on here, you could also take Florida Atlantic and build them to be a national power, right? And the idea of being able to be a head coach and build your program the way that you want to, whether you want to do it seriously or heck, you want to make Arkansas run the triple option, you could do that too, right? And so it's an awesome
Love
kind
that
of,
for them.
yeah, it's a simulation, right? And a way to get into college athletics and college football. And what makes college football different, they've done a fantastic job of replicating what it means to be a head coach and an offensive coordinator and all the above. It's really cool. So we're excited for the same thing.
So you two are going to do the dynasty mode, and you've picked teams, right? You guys challenged me to pick a team too. So did you pick yours yet?
I'm not set because I'm in a unique situation.
Okay, so like right now, if I were to like tell you
I can tell
who
you
would
conference. If I picked
If
one,
you
I had
to pick one right now.
somebody in the Sun Belt. That's what I'm going for.
All right.
But you haven't decided which one yet.
So let me elaborate and let me explain. I'm going to do it with a couple of friends, and we all want to start in the same conference in the Sun Belt. That's what the conference we decided. So when we all get the game, we're going to pull up kind of a random generator, and we're all going to put our names in there, and then it's just going to be up to fate. I could be the Georgia State head coach. I could be the Appalachian State
All right, I'm just telling you
coordinator.
that JMU Duke Dog fight song's pretty great.
Exactly.
What
There you
about
go.
Maybe. He's leaving up for chance.
I feel that way. Okay.
We did a draft in my group, and full disclosure, I have a Dungeons and Dragons group that we play every week, and they're great people, but who are all college football fans, and we kind of did a draft simulator to just get our order. We're not leaving it completely up to fate. We were allowed to choose our team, but every team that we choose, we're going to put them into our own conference. We're going to all, make sure that we get matchups against each other. And so I thought kind of long and hard about what I wanted. But when I played the old game, I just picked basically what my heart wanted. I was like, okay, I like the color combination of the uniforms, or I like where they play every week. So it was not really any rhyme or reason why I picked them. So I went back to my roots of like, what would Courtney pick in this situation? And because it was with my Dungeons and Dragons group, I had to do a little ode to them. So I picked UAB.
There you go.
The Blazers and
I love that.
and Dragons.
So you told me I had to pick one for this show specifically, so I picked UNLV.
Okay.
Nice.
That's what I
All
picked.
right.
I'm going with the Fighting Barry Odoms.
I love it because they have a good
Why not?
playbook. I was
I don't know.
kind of
Vegas seems fun. Would I have to deal with any kind of disciplinary things for football players going out on the strip?
I don't.
Is there
think
any
so.
of that?
I
It's
don't-
not that realistic.
I don't think
they're
you'll
trying
have
to stay out of trouble.
They're trying to
you know.
stay out of any. I told
Okay,
this
great.
to Mike because he
Okay.
was wondering if if Tennessee fans could throw golf balls at Lane Kiffin when they play Ole Miss. They're
No.
trying to stay away
Got
from
it.
any of that.
Okay.
Troublesome stuff.
No
So
troublesome stuff. Can you storm the field?
That's
good
a great
actually.
question. I have not read if you can storm the field or not, so I
Okay.
don't know if that's something they'll include in the
Interesting.
game.
Can you? What was I going to say? Cowbells. Are they going to be like?
Oh yeah,
you say
absolutely.
Cowbells.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to bring up because the first thing when you said UNLV, I thought of they play in Allegiant Stadium where the Raiders play, right? And they did a really cool job for people that are just college football fans, right? Courtney can talk about this as well, but recreating the atmospheres and all the little traditions that make college football quirky and awesome. So with Arkansas, right, they have you're running through the A, right?
yeah.
And with Mississippi
We're throwing
State.
A spear.
Yeah, Mississippi State. You have
Not
the
at
cowbells.
Mississippi State,
Florida
no,
State
Florida
with
State,
that
we're
as
throwing
well.
spears. Okay.
And they added in different crowd color formations. So if you play in Knoxville, you might have to deal with the Tennessee checkerboard crowd or a whiteout at Penn State, right? So that'd be interesting. I don't know if they can rush the field fans-wise, but the fans are more interactive and you get to see a lot of cool
You can hear them, too.
Yeah.
In the playthrough, you could hear when they were playing at Penn State, you could hear the "We Are Penn State."
Yeah.
And I was like, wow,
that's cool.
That's so loud. And
That's
it's
awesome.
so realistic. So you'll be able to hear, obviously, calling the hogs and things like that.
If I wanted to be the Hurricanes, could I kick them out of the Dolphin Stadium and make them go back to the Orange Bowl? I want them out of my stadium.
So I think
yes, because you can build stadiums.
Yes,
I can. This is fantastic.
So you can.
Okay. So I love all of these things. I don't like that we're agreeing
rock.
on everything. And you two are arguing on Monday about targeting.
Yes.
About how we feel about targeting in this game.
Courtney and I differ.
So
on
ready,
this.
set, fight.
So Jacob actually let me know this because I was talking to Mike Irwin about this and we were talking about different penalties that can happen and I was hoping for targeting. I was like, okay, maybe they're going to put targeting in the game. And I was like, oh, I haven't read anything on that just yet. Jacob said, no, they're not going to put targeting in the game. Courtney, that's going to be just so ridiculous if you put
just
targeting
like
into this. That's exactly how he said it. And I just think okay, no, I'm gonna die on this hill.
Okay.
Of that.
It's the wrong hill to die
there
on.
are button mashers, like hit sticking. Those people need to be penalized for doing things like that. And so I think you should throw a targeting penalty. That's exactly what I think.
My counter to this, and it's the right point of view for everybody watching, is from the standpoint that there's a certain point where when you're playing a game, if you take control out of the hands of the player, it becomes not very fun. So the hypothetical I threw at Courtney would be, if Alyssa, you and I are playing, and it's Florida State versus Notre Dame, it's 17-17 in the fourth quarter, right? Or let's say I'm up 20-17, and you're driving down the field, and you're about to win the game, and all of a sudden the game just decides to call a random targeting penalty, and my player gets ejected. Do you know how furious I would be?
It's not random.
That's too hard to quantify, and
It's not
could get them in
random.
trouble for targeting stuff as well.
What about pass interference in the end zone?
So that is the thing.
I was making a reference.
That is the thing.
No bad offensive pass interference calls, hopefully,
It was
in the
the right
game.
call. It was pass
not.
interference. You can't block.
I
can't block downfield.
I will live and die on this hill that there's a way to include targeting in the game. EA, you can call me. We can make this happen. I just want to penalize people for button mashing. You have to. There has to be.
They do though. You don't.
I'm looking up button mashing when this is all said and done, real fast before we go, guys. Convince me.
Courtney wants this until she gets called for a targeting.
I know, and then I'll be like,
And then
"This
she'd
is
be like, "This is
ridiculous.
an
Take it
awful
out of the
rule."
game."
Convince me to buy the video game.
Convince you? For you, it's easy. It goes back to what Jacob was saying about traditions, and I actually saw something posted on social media earlier this week when they were showing the game at Florida. And they actually, EA Sports came to the Florida practice facility and scanned everything so that it was perfectly recreated exactly like it would be if you were to walk into that Florida practice facility. Same thing with Florida's traditions of rubbing the gator head before you go out onto the field. They scanned all of that. So it's exactly replicated in the game. I think for you it would be so awesome to get to experience those traditions, to get to be in that stadium. And I just feel like no matter if you're a college football fan, a player, whoever you are, a former coach, a current coach, you're going to enjoy playing it if you're a fan of the game and all aspects of the game. So I think for you, that's what I would say. You're a huge college football fan, so I think you would enjoy getting to be in the game.
Haven't seen Doak Campbell Stadium in a while, so maybe this is my only opportunity to do so.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing Courtney said. I heard a designer at one point, now this is a dramatic way to describe it, but he described the game as a love letter to college football, right? From the standpoint that if you're just a college football fan like me, you're just a nerd about college football, and you get chills when you walk into Tiger Stadium at LSU, you get chills when you walk into Tuscaloosa and you go to a game at Alabama, right? The ability to play all of these different stadiums, right, and to have the different uniform combinations and the traditions, that make college football what it is and what makes everybody love college football. It's a really unique thing, and it's an awesome opportunity. That would be my pitch to somebody. If they don't know where to buy the game,
I know you guys are
ahead.
excited. We do own an Xbox, so maybe you guys will convince me.
I like it.
I know you guys are excited. Players are excited. I know a ton of fans at home watching are excited. So this is what we're going to do. Now that we have our EA College Football 2025,
Yeah,
did I get
that's
that
pretty-
right this
that's
time?
pretty good.
There you go.
I've learned a lot in the last 15 minutes. Once you guys get it and play it, we will do this again and see how you feel about it.
I love that.
Deal?
I think
Deal.
that's a good idea.
Stay tuned in 2 weeks. We'll follow up with these two about how their game plan. Well, I won't be here, but the two of you can do it.
I will say this.
With Mike Irwin here. in
With
his
Mike Irwin
place.
here, I will say this. I think it's going to be a lot tougher than the old games. I really do. And I know Jacob and I have talked about it. I think it's going to be a lot tougher. So I'm excited to see how I actually do, I guess.
That'll be fun.
Courtney and I talked. We're not going to have much of a social life for the next
That's
3
really
weeks,
great. I just
so
need you
it's
guys
really
to get
helping.
some work done,
Yeah.
play college football, cover college football, do your work, and I'll see you on the 20th of August.
There you go.
Let
That's
me know how
perfect.
you're doing. Great. Out of sight, out of mind with you two. That's going to do it for your Big Trail Nation Extra. We'll see you next week.